Ricardo, beautiful work. Nice job. Great, really great craft. I mean, there's no smudges, there's no wrinkles in the paper. This is really fantastic. Nice work. I think the letter forms are actually a pretty good depiction of the originals. A couple of areas that you want to watch. This little stroke right here, that's a variable width right there. See how thin it gets? It tapers into that tail of that lowercase a. And also watch that tail of that lowercase a. See how it flares off to the right down there? Other than that, I think the other thing in this A right here is that the shape of that teardrop right there. See how that thing is kind of shaped in a diagonal? And this is not quite so extreme, but you've got that little teardrop, but it's just not quite as pronounced as it is here. The reason I'm bringing up the teardrop here is that this is negative space. Okay, so this is a closed counter. This is an open counter. You really want to pay attention to the shapes right here. And that'll give you good consistency in your letter forms. For example, we see this shape here is a little bit different than this shape here, which is a little bit different than this shape here. Conversely, the teardrop closed counters are all basically just a little bit different in shape. So once you establish consistency in those negative shapes, it'll help you to define the actual shapes of the letters to a higher degree of consistency. Not that you've done a bad job, you've done a great job. Okay, one of the things I want to do is I want to check your baseline. So I'm going to place this right over here, and I'm placing it right at the bottom of the baseline. Looks like your baseline is pretty darn level. That's fantastic. Looks like the capital B sits above the baseline just a hair. So that kind of creates this illusion that it's not level. Okay, so of course the first thing you want to do is establish that perfectly level baseline. And when I say level, I mean level to the picture plane. Okay, and those letters are going to sit on that foundational baseline. So that it's really important that be perfectly straight. Your mean line is placed inaccurately, and my guess is that you drew the mean line before you placed the letters. Now, what is a mean line, Ricardo? A mean line is a line that connects the height, the x height of the lowercase letters. Okay, the x height is the height of the lowercase letters. So if you were to take a line, and again, let's use my straight edge. This line right here that connects the tops, or I can even use the bottom of this. Excuse me. So we'll place it right there, and we can see that line that connects all of those the tops of the lowercase letters. That is called a mean line. And right now yours isn't drawn as where it should be. Yours is drawn way below, right in this crease of the B right here, where it should be right here above these. So basically, it should be intuitive at this point that you can't draw the mean line before you place a letter for a guide. So the first thing I would do is I would take my tracing paper, I would put this document on a light table if possible, and I would establish that mean line. So in other words, once you get your level on your tracing paper, once you get that baseline to be level, you would place it over this document here. Just make a little mark at the top of the A, and then move the paper over so that that same A is on this side, and make a little mark there. Okay, connect those marks and you should have a good mean line. That way you can help it can help you place the other lines. I'm sorry, the other letters. Okay, and then you can do the same thing for a cap line. Is place the B, look at it through the tracing paper and mark the top of it, and then move the tracing paper so the B is on this side, and then go ahead and make that mark, connect that line, you have your cap line. Okay, as far as spacing goes, as I said, I think you have fantastic letter spacing here, considering this would be called basically normal letter spacing. Now we want to adjust this letter spacing. What we're after is this. We want to accommodate the space between the letters to make it appear as though the volume between these letters is equal. Okay, now you're going to have to use your imagination. Imagine this is closed right here, this lowercase a. Just imagine it's closed right there. All right, now as we can see, if we look at the volume between letters in between the mean line and the baseline, we want that area to be equal to this area, and to be equal to this area, and this area. So basically, if we were to pour a pitcher of water in between the letters, the same rate, and at the same time, all of those spaces would fill up evenly with water. So the general rule of thumb is this: is what you want to do is you want to establish the closest spacing between two curved letter forms. But like this example here, the curved letter form, the only curved letter form combination in this word is the B and the A. So that should be your closest turning, and that would be your starting point. Then what you want to do is you want to place the next closest kerning or the next wider kerning in between a straight letter form and a curved letter form. And then finally, the widest should be between two straight letter forms. And it should be intuitive at this point that the reason for that is to increase or decrease the volume between the letters. Okay, so we want to decrease this volume because there's more surface area in here, right? So for that volume to appear to be the same as this volume, we would reduce the space here and increase the space here. That's the general reasoning behind letter spacing. Of course, the reason we letter space is so that the viewer can read the word expeditiously and read it as one word, as opposed to imagine a wide space right here, a wider space right here. The viewer wouldn't look at this as banana. The viewer would see that space and would want to automatically break at that space. So that word banana would now be read as banana. You see what I'm saying? That's why letter spacing is so important. Okay, Ricardo, great start. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. But good start, and let's go ahead and apply those comments in your final iteration. All right, great job. Thanks, Ricardo.